I am old.
Well, you know what, though? You've got guts, and guts is enough, because I'm talking to other truth tellers out there, and they don't even want to talk about this NDAA bill that just passed the House. There are certain things that people...
Why wouldn't they want to talk about it? It's a fact.
It is a fact. It is a fact of life, and we need to talk about the fact that the House of Representatives passed the NDAA overwhelmingly by a vote of 283 to 136. So if our greatest hope was that the House of Representatives would stand up and say, hey, you 93 senators who are criminal, we're not with you on this. That didn't happen. Apparently Americans are not safe. Liberty is providing no protection for us, Bob.
Yeah, I know. I tell you how I wrap this up and many other things. And it's a good way to handle it. It's very positive. What we're experiencing is very negative. And so how do you solve the problem legally? You elect Ron Paul.
That's right.
Now, Ron Paul owns gold and silver coins and shares. Do you think he's going to try to rescind the executive order known as the President's Working Group in Financial Markets? Of course he is. And when he was in Miami a few months ago, one of the guys that I know approached him, and he said, you know, the number 2 thing we got to do is go do away with the Working Group in Financial Markets. And he said, I agree.
Is this criminal enterprise, this cartel of criminals, this global cartel, begins to really find themselves with their backs up against the wall. Okay, as currencies around the planet suffer, as the euro falls apart, as the banking infrastructure implodes, these people are now, to some degree, turning on each other. Now, the reason I say that is because Max Kaiser was on the Alex Jones show, and he said, and I quote, as it relates to MF Global, that John Corzine found himself in about $1.5 billion of bad trade, and he was going to have to turn to his creditors, and his creditors were J.P. Morgan. And as Max Kaiser tells the story, and I quote, Jamie Dimon allegedly said to John Corzine, you take the money from the customer accounts or we will kill you. And that's what we're dealing with here.
And I believe that. I do believe it. And there's got to be more to this story, and I told you this under the hat, so to speak, before. I think the government was behind this. I think they told Corzine, go along those bonds. We need your help. And I think he did it, believing them, that they were going to come to his aid, and they didn't.
Right.
You see, he hasn't got that kind of experience. He was a governor and a senator. They live in a different world than what I lived in when I worked for government.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I knew how rotten they were. I mean, they recruited me for the CIA, and I says, oh, I don't think so. I want to go out in the world. I was very nice about it. I felt like telling them, you're nothing but a bunch of murdering, worthless, thieving scum. And I'm talking 1958. I mean, these people are demented.
Well, you know what's got
Not all of them, mind you. Half of them are great guys. I used to work with them, and, let's get the job done. Everything was kosher.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that they were doing was okay. Then you get this other group. They're running around murdering people, usually in different countries.
Mm-hmm.
Awful.
Do you want to talk about the silver and gold smackdown? Do you want to talk about the IMF trying to save Europe? What would you like to talk about before we let you go?
Well, the IMF isn't going to save anybody because they don't have any money, and to speak of. And there's legislation, evidently, I think it's in the Senate, that it would keep the United States government for contributing money to the IMF to be used to bail out countries in Europe. Will it pass? I don't know. If I had to lean one way or the other, I'd say no, because they got everybody in Congress, with the exception of a handful of people, bought off. And so that's kind of the end of that. And so if the IMF is going to be used as that ultimate instrument, they're going to need a minimum of $6 trillion to get off the ground. That's dollars. And probably when all is said and done, maybe 10 to 12 trillion. Now, that kind of money doesn't exist, and they'll have to print it, or somebody will, and give it to them, and it's going to be highly inflationary. And they're going to keep on doing that to buy time.
Right.
Because there's no way out for them. They're trapped.
What'd you make of the unadulterated, disgusting, merciless slam in precious metals the other day, with gold down nearly $100 an ounce and silver down more than $2? What do you make of this?
Hate and punishment. And they'll do it again and again and again. Now, I gave you the key earlier in the program. It very simply is, there's a guy out there running for president that owns gold and silver coins, bullion, and shares.
Right.
His name is Ron Paul.
Right.
Elect him, he's going to change the law, and they won't be able to do it anymore. That gets pretty simple. So I'm telling everybody, I've committed myself to $1,000 today to Ron Paul.
Ron Paul money bomb.
And I want everybody else out there to do that, because if you don't do that, you're duck soup. I mean, this is it. This is the end. If we do not win here, you either fight them in the streets or get out of the country, one or the other.
Absolutely, Bob. And for those who may have missed the Ron Paul money bomb on Friday, the 16th, go to ronpaul2012.com right now and contribute something. Stand up for the one candidate who is standing up for the Constitution and your right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The one guy. Donate some money. Donate something. Time. Phone bank. Money. ronpaul2012.com.
Well, if he can win in Iowa and win in New Hampshire, I think he's got a lock. And then we got to, concentrate on his winning the election, which I think he can do. You know that black lady, Cynthia
McKinney.
She might. I've met her several times.
She's great.
Yeah, she might be the person to run with him. She's more fire and brimstone than he is.
People don't know this about me. This is a little aside. In the last presidential election, when all of my brainwashed idiot friends were telling me that Obama was going to deliver change, and my Republican friends just wanted more of the same with McCain, I voted for Cynthia McKinney, because out of all of the candidates that you could actually punch the ballot for, she was the only one who consistently spoke truth. And I'll tell you what, the minute she talked about 9/11 truth, and the minute she started to go after the missing trillions from the Pentagon, they drummed her out of Congress pretty quickly, didn't they?
They certainly did. They loaded up her adversary in the primary with money. Was it the primary? Well, it doesn't make any difference. She didn't get reelected.
Do you know who else would be an excellent choice, Bob? It would be a dream ticket for me if somehow he could grab Judge Napolitano to run with him. He's got that Fox News program, and he talks about the things we talk about. And
it's a great program.
Bob, I have to let you go. We got to let you go. But a lot of people email me and want me to ask you questions. How can people get a hold of you if they want to ask you some questions directly?
The simplest way is to email me, and that address is Bob, B-O-B, at INTFORECASTER.com. Bob at intforecaster.com. Ask questions. If you want a copy of the publication, either email or hard copy. One more thing for all of you. Number one, please contribute to Ron Paul, not only with money, but also support him and what he's doing and his whole entourage. Do whatever you can, because if he loses, we're duck soup, believe me.
If he loses...
And second of all, this morning, I bought gold.
Nicely played. And just to put an exclamation point on that Ron Paul thought, if he loses, we all lose. So this is our last chance to stand up. We have to stand up. We have to stand up together and support him, not only in spirit, but financially. Absolutely, I agree. Bob, it's just one of the nicest conversations I always have every 2 weeks is with you. So we really appreciate your time.
Well, I thank you very much, and it's my pleasure to be here. And I will try to impart anything that I can to think will, which I think will help in a number of different areas. I won't go into them. You know what they all are.
Yeah.
And the knowledge is here, and I'm willing to give it away.
Well, we appreciate that. Bob Chapman of the International Forecaster, thanks.
Well, thank you, and I'll be seeing you again soon.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Oh, and all of you have happy holidays. Christmas, Hanukkah, the whole works.
That's right. Merry Christmas to everybody. All right, we'll talk to you again.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Good night.